ssjstash.net.
Hey, what is up, guys? Kodo here doing another update. Got a bit more to talk about today, as some of you may have seen me talking about on Discord. There's quite a lot that I've been thinking about, and I'm actually really interested in trying some new ideas. So, I'm going to go through the update first, and then we'll talk about the other things that I've been trying to contemplate. So, we have the interpreter that I had to go back to, and some of you may have seen me talking about a namespace, the namespace for introduction that I have been bringing back in. So I actually thought that it may slow down the development for quite some time, maybe until October. But it seems like I don't need to re-implement the same namespaces that I've had before, so it's going to be a lot easier to move on and get back into the actual logical system. So, I kind of realized with the namespaces that you don't really need them. Objects are very good at having, accessing a certain name of any variable. So I decided that that's what I should be working with. When you have a namespace, you really have just a random memory slot. But with an object, you have more, it's attached to that object, you can manipulate it, etc., etc. So I thought it would be better to work through it that way. There's a lot of tracking and things that are working with objects. So I thought that the most effective thing to do is to take advantage of that. So there will still be some namespaces. So you may know the system namespace, which is the cache symbol, and then you know the global namespace, which is the end symbol. Those are being reintroduced, but namespaces which are double colon are being deprecated. So there are also a few other namespaces as well. You have the class at CLS, and then you have other ways of accessing other namespaces, such as at SYS for system, instead of using, say, the little symbol that you have, which is more convenient. So you really should use that instead. I don't know if there is any use in having both of them, so it's like it doesn't really matter. So I've had to rebuild a little bit of the classes are basically in pretty good place in terms of interpreter. So I'm probably not going to mess with that anymore. I'm just going to leave them as is. I don't think I will be making much more modifications on that end. I've really been trying to get to the ultimate interpreter. So I'm really trying to finalize it as much as possible. Unfortunately, it's not easy because I keep changing the syntax, and that makes it difficult. But hopefully this will be one of the final blows to it. So I've been deconvoluting major parts of the interpreter, so I should have some pretty nice build of it in time. Of course, that's going to be, there's going to be adjustments to it, but really the point is it's in a good place. It's getting, like, I've worked on it for so long that it's really, I would say, up to my standards at this point. So I decided that I'm not going to make the multi-layer syntax logic processing, which I was going to do, because I'm just gonna, I realized that in the interpreter there is not much processing and there is not much tracking. So with this whole system that I have for layering, when you go to the logic processor, that's already done. I don't need to rewrite all of that and put that into the interpreter. That's just going to be mountains of code, and then I don't have the luxury of time to do that right now. But in the future, maybe. So that is basically the updates on that. At this point, I'm thinking by the end of July there could be a like I've already been experimenting with an expression builder. What it does is it takes an expression and then it converts it into JavaScript. So it takes a shadow expression. So that's working fine. However, I haven't gone much past that, and ideally by the end of this month or mid August, I may actually I may actually have the experimental stages of the language, and I'm going to be working on that for a while. It's going to be pretty good. So now let's talk about the ideas that I've been having and the things that I've been contemplating on other things besides language. So some of you may know I mentioned it on my Discord that I want to create an app design environment for creating matrix applications. And what that is, you go online and you create your little app, and then you give it a name or a code, and then it can go into the matrix. It goes into the matrix and anyone can access it. So it's pretty exciting. I didn't think I was gonna do it in HTML5. Obviously, I kind of thought I'm gonna do it in when I convert, ideally in the future, create an operating system for the Raspberry Pi, and then I implement some nice libraries for it and graphics API and everything. That was when I was going to do it, but it really seems like I could actually do it for HTML5 as well. So what I could have is I could have a nice abstract system, right? And that could convert into HTML5 and it could be sandboxed, because that was the major issue. The major issue is that if you have a program that is JavaScript and that allows you to manipulate the window or really just the website, that causes problems because then there's security issues with that. But I have been, as some of you may have seen, I've said that it's becoming more clear that there is actually a nice way of sandboxing the entire application and cutting off all handles to actual JavaScript variables or elements or functions. So that's not a worry right now, and I think it's exciting. I think it's going to be an exciting opportunity. I don't have a timeline. By the end of the year, maybe I will, but really, it's not something that I'm immediately going to take upon myself to do. So that's just an interesting idea that I've been having. And really, I want people to have a piece of the matrix. That's what it's about. It's going to be the first emulator that I've made to that level, to the level and the depth that I'm going to make it. So that's going to be good. It's going to be a good experience for me, and I guess I want to see what people think. I want to see what people come up with. I want to have collaborations as well, things like that. There's a hell of a lot of things that I'm thinking about with this project. I still have to catch up on things that I've wanted to do this year since back in April, but I feel like I just have to do the language, and then once that's happening, I'm really going to be able to focus on a lot more other things. Thanks for watching. Stick around for more, and peace!